Absence of everything.
Exactly.
Okay, yes.
So the conception, so even though the reality of it may never exist, but we can conceptualize as to what the definition of nothing is.
Yes.
It's the absence of everything.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
that would be my understanding.
In a simple example, and I've used this a few times before, if I go into a kitchen,
yes,
and there's no flour, no eggs, no oven, there's no milk, there's no cream, there's no nothing basically, zero, zip, zilch.
There's not even the kitchen.
There's not even the kitchen. Can I ever bake a cake?
No.
No. Now, if I can't bake a cake, and that is something quite simple with only a few little ingredients thrown together, even a child with her mum will sit there and make cupcakes or whatever, then what about this universe?
So just to clarify, so in the absence of, if you say nothing is the absence of everything, even potentiality, nothing is the absence of everything, and from that nothing, even lacking potentiality, can anything come?
We don't know, because we've never seen that nothing.
I would say that you know better than that.
Well, no, but we don't know, because the only time that something would have needed to come from nothing is the beginning of the universe.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that was like.
What you don't suspend obvious. So I would say this is an obvious thing.
I'm not sure it is obvious.
Just like the kitchen example there.
Sure.
If you lack anything to bring about that.
Ben, can I get my coat?
Even the kitchen itself isn't there.
Yes.
The answer is.
Can I get my coat? My coat.
Logic tells you that this is not a potential.
The kitchen isn't a nothing though. So if you walk into and you see an empty fridge,
I'm saying no kitchen, no fridge.
Okay, but even the lack of kitchen, that isn't a nothing.
So what you're arguing for? That's what I clarify. Because in your responses now to Abbas, you're actually arguing for a something.
Am I?
Yeah.
For the kitchen is an example of a something. I agree. The kitchen is a something. Like if you have, I don't know what the lack of kitchen would be.
Or the empty fridge.
An empty fridge
is a something.
There's plenty of stuff that's in that fridge. There's lots of molecules in there. That's a something.
Yeah.
My point would be that in the world that we're in, what we conceive of as nothing, like the empty fridge. No, you can't get a cake.
That's not what we're conceiving of as nothing.
Well, no, it's just so to use it. Well, it is the nothing of the kitchen. In the world that we're in, the nothing of the kitchen, a cake won't appear. But when we're talking about the beginning of the universe, we're not talking about the world that we're in.
But you see, brother, let me ask you, let me sort of suggest another example for you. Fairness is to remain consistent with one's worldview.
Yes. That's very important to be consistent.
If you were to walk into your, let's say, 8-bedroom house with your double garage next door,
I had such a
suddenly you see, suddenly you open the door from your house leading into the garage, and there's a beautiful Aston Martin and a Rolls Royce sitting there, right? Yeah. You would never ever conceptualize that those cars somehow popped into existence from nothing.
Yes.
So intuitively, I would say that you know that that's an impossibility.
I would say
there's no rational, even 0.1000001% doubt in your mind of it coming from nothing.
I agree.
Right?
Well, the nothing within, when we talk about nothing colloquially within the universe, because again, if those cars weren't there, it would be an empty garage.
Even within our universe, with all the atoms and the molecules and everything flying around, you would never assume that somehow these things have just rearranged themselves and become the Aston Martin, and that is coming into existence from already something around it.
Exactly,
yes.
Yes?
So what I would say to you, brother, is that to remain consistent, it would just be even more absurd to argue that the universe, with more stars than grains of sand on every beach on Earth, all that energy and mass, and its organization, okay, and the laws of physics, and the laws of chemistry and biology that govern the universe, that somehow I'm going to posit that did come from nothing, or it's possible to come from nothing.
Just to be clear, as I was saying before, my position isn't, as I said, we don't know what happened before. From my understanding, is that we don't know what happened before the Big Bang. if there is an eternal universe, or there's ideas like the multi-universe, again, multiverse, I'm probably butchering all the physics.
No, that's a term.
There are plenty of ideas out there as to what happened before the Big Bang. So it's not that my position is that something would come from nothing. All I'm saying is that I'm not going to commit to the position that 100% that something can't come from nothing, because as far as we're aware, we haven't seen a nothing, and for the universe to come into existence, that would only need to happen once. Because once the universe does come into existence, we don't have any nothing anymore. We've got a whole lot of something.
So you seem to be arguing for, give me the miracle and the rest is okay.
I don't know if it is a miracle.
So something coming from a lack of absence of everything, including potentiality. And what's you described?
I'm not sure how you're using potentiality. That's just me being dumb.
Potentiality is like the potential to bring about any change.
Yeah.
When you have an absence of everything, even that is missing. Yeah. Because there is no thing there.
So maybe then, if this argument is true, it wouldn't mean that a God necessarily brought in. You could have an eternal universe then. Or like some of the multiverse ideas would be true. Yeah, there are options, sure. But again, all I'm just going to say is I'm not going to commit to the position that something can't come from nothing. Because again, I don't need to keep droning on about
but you know what
don't have enough.
You know what it is, brother?
And the intuitive things that you're talking about like the cars and the cakes, I totally agree intuitively, but that's not nothing. That's a whole lot of something. And it's within the universe, whereas we're not talking about what happens within the universe. We're talking about what happened to begin the universe.
Yeah. So the point
is outside of that.
This is why I said to you.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
This is why I said to you when we first started our conversation. Good reasons and reasoned arguments, or deductive arguments.
Yes.
So let's look at some of the possibilities, and you tell me if it's reasonable to actually posit a creator.
Sure.
So. A universe from nothing. I think most people. Yeah. I think you've got the message out anyway. No more kids.
And go vegan.
Yeah. Look, the thing is, we can look at the particular scenarios.
Yeah.
Now, I agree that it can be difficult to say I want to put my flag onto the mast and I'm going to say this is what happened categorically.
Yes.
Because you could say, look, I don't actually know.
Yeah.
But that does not mean to say, therefore, I will not think about things either. It doesn't mean that I won't look at the potential possibilities of how it might have happened, and maybe to remain consistent, to remain perhaps intellectually faithful, to reason, that I will go with the decision or the conclusion that seems most reasonable to me.
Yes.
Right?
And I agree that in life you have to do that.
Of course.
The example with your parents.
Absolutely.
It's not that you know 100% of your parents.
Absolutely.
But you go through your interactions with your parents.
Right.
Assume that
I've never been
to
Australia, right?
Yes.
Now the photographs could be of New Zealand.
Yeah.
The people could be lying to me that this was Australia.
It's a big conspiracy.
Absolutely, right? The world is flat, right?
Yes.
But the reasons why I don't believe those things is because I find an overwhelming amount of testimony, of reasons to believe otherwise.
Yeah.
And the alternative for me is so unlikely that it's almost on wearing tin hats, foil hats, and all that sort of stuff. It seems ridiculous to me.
I'll agree. So intuitively, yes, like with and it's because when we think intuitively about nothing, we think about the empty fridge, the empty garage that we were talking about before.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't know empirically how you could test this because we don't have a nothing to test whether something could come from it.
But you've used empiricism.
Yes.
When in fact most of our convictions are not empirical at all. Most of our convictions, things that we will, you may sacrifice your life for your children, or for your mother, or for your father, right? You'll give up your life to save them, right? Yet you don't have empiricism to do that, but you do it because you have good reasons to believe that they are your parents and those are your children, right?
I mean, you do have some empirical evidence, but not like to the extent what people would think
of. For the vast majority of people, they haven't gone to
the
DNA labs and had to make sure, are these my kids? Is that my mom? Is that my dad?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So now the point that I'm trying to make to you is that there's a few options. The coming from nothing, an absence of everything, absence of even potential, is illogical, I would say.
Yeah.
Is irrational. I think it's unreasonable. To say that there's a multiverse or an infinite universe, you're now arguing that there's infinite energy, infinite mass, it's come from nowhere, it's always existed, and when we say infinite, remember, infinite is a mathematical construct. As soon as you apply it to the real world, absurdities come out of it.
Infinity times 2 is infinity.
Exactly. If I take one universe out of an infinite series, how many universes do I have?
An infinite
It's still an infinite. So it leads to absurdities. Yeah. So therefore, the infinite realm seems absurd as well.
Yes.
And what does infinite energy and infinite mass mean anyway? Uncountable. Uncountable? If I take one, it's still uncountable. It doesn't make sense. So what we see around us is we see that this universe exists. It seems to have a beginning, and there's organization to it, and it seems contingent. You need hydrogen, you need iron, you need the periodic table. You need certain things in that to even enable a life-giving universe. And those parameters are such that you have to have hundreds of decimal places and things positioned, measured out, just so there's a possibility of biological life, right? So now where did it come from? Now we can say, okay, it always existed. Then I would say, okay, what's the evidence of it always existing? Well, most people are saying it came into existence. So there isn't the evidence for that. Then we say it came from something else, material. So there was maybe another universe that came before it, right? Okay, can you have an infinite series of material explanations for this explanation? Could you or I talk? Could you and I be speaking if there was an infinite series of dominoes that had to fall to get to this point?
Meaning that...
Could you ever traverse an infinite series to get to this point? If there was an infinite past of events, could you ever get to this event?
Me personally.
Well, us talking here now.
This is an event.
So meaning that.
So let me.
Sorry,
let me give you another example, right? Okay. Let's say, and this example has been used